I ain't got no motherfucker.
So I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. West side, bad.
Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about Tupac Amaru Shakur, also known as Tupac, and tell his story a little. He was an American rapper who is considered by many to be one of the most important rappers of all time and most influential in rap history. He was born in the Manhattan borough of New York City, but moved to the San Francisco Bay Area in 1988. Later, around 1993, he moved to LA to continue his musical career. In late 1995, after being convicted of sexual abuse and being a victim of a robbery and shooting, Tupac became heavily involved in the growing rivalry between East and West Coast hip-hop. On September 7th of 1996, Tupac was shot 4 times by an unknown assailant in a drive-by in Las Vegas. He died 6 days later, and the shooter was never caught. The Notorious Big, Tupac's friend and later his greatest rival, was initially considered a suspect, but was also killed in another drive-by several months later. Now, I'm going to talk about Biggie. His real name was Christopher George Latore Wallace. He was born in Brooklyn in May 21st, 1972, and he died in Los Angeles March 9, 1997. Better known by his stage name, the Notorious Big, Biggie Smalls, or simply Biggie. He was an American rapper and producer. He is considered one of the most important rappers of all time and one of the most influential in the history of rap. He released the critically acclaimed album Ready to Die in 1994 and became the East Coast Rap King, which so reviled the West Coast. On March 9, 1997, Wallace was killed by an unknown person in a shooting in Los Angeles. Wallace was known for his slow and quiet flow, semi-autobiographical, dark lyrics, and storytelling skills.
Now I'm going to tell you how Tupac and Biggie meet. They meet in 1993 in LA. Biggie, a rapper from Brooklyn, asked a local dealer to introduce him to Tupac, who invites Biggie and his friends to a party at his house. Tupac gave Biggie a bottle of Hennessy. Biggie stayed to age of Tupac's every time he went to California, and when Tupac went to New York, he would go to Biggie's neighborhoods, pick him up in a white limousine, and hang on with the neighbors.
So, I'm going to tell you about the fight between Tupac and Biggie and what happened. This all began in New York when Tupac went to Biggie's friend's records to record some music, and before entering the studio, 3 thieves attacked Tupac. The thieves say Tupac that he had stole some jewelry, and Tupac instantly thought it was Biggie involved in that, so it became a huge problem. Then he discovered that it was a narco, and the fight between Tupac and Biggie calms a little down. On September 7 in 1996, Tupac went with Kidaka to a Mike Tyson match in Las Vegas. After the fight, he suggested Kidaka to stay at the hotel. Tupac had started a beating up against a member of a rival gang. The truth is that Tupac wanted to party, and in his BMW, he played his new music and invited the girls who recognized him to follow to the Club 662. He has drawing the attention of his enemies, and a white Cadillac drew up to the level of the BMW, and bullets rained down. 4 of them went to Tupac, and instantly he died. All eyes turned to New York. Such was the reigning danger between the 2 great poles of rap that automatically rapper Notorious Big and the founder of his records company, Sean Combs, who recorded as Puff Daddy.
In March 1997, 6 months after Tupac's death, Biggie and Puff Daddy landed in Los Angeles and did not hide. They were looking for contacts in Hollywood to expand their professional territory. On the north, they attended a Vibe magazine party at the Petersen Automotive Museum. It was a riot. In a space planned for 600 people, perhaps 2000 entry. When Notorious Big and company were moving away towards the hotel, the Las Vegas plate was repaired. A lurking car paralleled the van carrying Beggy. 6 shots rang out, one of which mortally wounded him. 20 years have passed and legends still circulate recording the double assassination. They were documentaries and books, with the participation of police officers who investigate the cases, where they indicate the name of those who pulled the triggers. But they can no longer speak. They were murdered, like so many of those involved, fallen in gang fights or in disputes over drug trafficking.
So we decided this topic because in quarantine I became a big fan of rappers of East and West Coast. In quarantine I see all the movies and all the series on Netflix, so that's why we decided this topic.
Some rappers that are also famous are Eminem, Ice Cube, and Snoop Dogg. They are all from the industry and know around the world.
We think Tupac and Biggie were the most important rappers in all the times, and their songs talk about important things in society like racism.